publish this for those that didn't make it. So now we're recording. Yeah, I went ahead and did this. So I'm gonna jump in. So thank you guys for joining, and just a little bit of context, I guess, before we get started. I, like many of you, maybe have used other email service providers like MailChimp, or there's another one called MailerLite, which I've used as well. And everything I'm going to talk about is certainly very generic, but I'm going to use something called ConvertKit, which I've fairly recently come to know, but also found out that it's used by a lot of people and have fast fell in love with it. So I'll be using it as the tool that I actually kind of walk through the various different things. The thing I really like about ConvertKit is they've got the ability to create these landing pages, which we'll go through, as well as, your email service provider being able to send out emails, broadcast, even things like sequences and automation. We won't get to sequences and automation, but a ton of things. And the other thing I like about, the free plan is, with the free plan, you can send out unlimited emails. So every free plan is going to be a little bit different. With MailChimp, I think you can maybe have a few more subscribers, but you have a limit on how many you can send out. And technically, I mentioned this last night as well, technically, although I've never had a problem with it, technically they, in their terms of service, they do not allow multi-level marketing or affiliate marketing. So I don't know how often they actually shut people down for that. I do Young Living. I don't send out thousands of emails in that context, but nonetheless, never actually had a problem. I've heard of others that have. So, I'm moving away from MailChimp for a lot of different reasons, but that's here nor there. So I am going to go ahead and log in to ConvertKit. So I'm going to log in here, and I'm just going to go basically from left to right and start kind of talking through some of the features. And if there are already questions, by all means, stop me. I'm going to try to talk about not only how you use ConvertKit, because I know many of you have already gotten a free account, which is cool, but I want to talk about at least how I'm applying some of this, which might give you ideas. I don't presume to be telling you necessarily things that you don't know, but at the same point, I'm going to, I'll bring out some things that the ways that I'm using it. And the first way I'll start is how I used it to basically get you guys all involved in this training. But so if we start out with landing pages, I'm going to start right out without describing any of this other stuff. I'm first going to go to create new, because the first thing I want to really show you is that with these landing pages, they've gotten over 30 different templates, if you will, or, pre-designed landing pages that you can modify the pictures and all that type of thing. And prior to going to that, just real quick, they do distinguish form and landing page. Now, landing page is actually a page, obviously, that someone puts in a URL and they go directly to that page. And that landing page is, a one-page website, basically, in essence. And typically, a landing page is dedicated to typically a single call to action. Even like and here in a minute, we'll actually end up going to it through one of the examples, even the landing page that our prospects for coaching would go to. I mean, really, technically, I guess there's two calls to actions in that, because they could go either the 10-week or the 3-week, but still it serves the purpose of basically highlighting, in essence, a coaching program in that case. So forms are the equivalent of landing pages, but where you can embed them in your website. So let's say you have, for example, for those that know what that is, a WordPress website. Maybe you want to design a landing page and then embed it within a page or even a post on your WordPress. Now, it doesn't have to be WordPress. I know some of you have, maybe some of you that are on the call, and certainly some of those amongst us in the coaching group have Squarespace. You can certainly do that. Any website where you have the ability to basically input some HTML code, then you would be able to embed that form in there. I'm not going to focus on that this point in time, I'm going to focus on landing pages. So I'm going to click on landing pages so you can see, at least for ConvertKit, all of the different types of landing pages. Now they have kind of categorized these into different subcategories, as you can see, like ebook, for example, or event or newsletter. And as I click on these, it's also the case that some of these templates fall into or are listed under multiple categories. I don't actually pay too much attention myself, honestly, about these different subcategories. So I typically am on this all, and then when you're ready to use one of these, then you would click on it. You can go to preview. I'm going to use this Abby. Each of these templates have a name, so I'm going to go to Abby and I'm going to preview. And the nice thing about this, you can still start scrolling through here on the left, all the others. So here is a preview of how that would look. So you'll notice what's common about most of these landing pages, and then you can even do more. Typically, there's some type of a background picture of some sort or another, and then a smaller picture that's either a logo or literally a picture of yourself, or like the landing page that you guys used to register. It was in essence a picture from the ULA Instagram. So you can input something there, and then you always have in essence a heading. So this will be your heading, and you only have one heading, and we'll get to that in a moment, but you have one heading, and then you can have multiple paragraphs or subheadings, and then your inputs. So I'm going to scroll through a couple of the others just briefly so you can kind of see, and then we'll go into one of these landing pages and toy around a little bit, just enough so you can see the capability, because then after landing pages, I'm going to get into your email subscribers and how you manage that, and then broadcast, how you send a broadcast, and that'll kind of wrap up the class or training for tonight. So again, you can click through any of these, and in every case, normally these templates don't even show you everything you can do, because there's some customization you can do to any of the landing pages that you pick. So for ease, I'm going to pick this top one up here, and now we're going to say choose. So I'm going to go through most of the process of creating a landing page so you can see the capability, and then I will pick one that I've already done. One other quick thing I'll say real quick. I know a lot of people I still hear joining, so great, welcome, I'll say. So I'm not going to, at this point, back up and start over, but I'll try to answer questions as we go, that for those that joined a little bit late, maybe you're not following, I'll try to get you caught up. So we are now in the design phase, if you will, or the design screen for this landing page. And you'll notice over here at the top, you've got the Abby landing page. You click on that pencil, and I can change that to whatever I want to. Coaching. I'm not spelling that right. There we go. Coaching page. I'll talk in a minute here about what this other plus is. As I mentioned, you've got the little box over here for your smaller graphic. When you click on the representation of that, you'll notice that you can choose a file. I'm not going to actually add one there, but you can see here that I've got several things that are kind of already in there. I can click on this cloud area, pull anything else in that I want from my computer, and now that becomes another, basically another picture, another graphic available for me. And then the one that I want, I just click on it like here, and that adds it. Now I'm going to take that away just as soon as I add it, but that's how you actually do it. As I mentioned, you've got your headline here. So, whatever you would say, I'm not going to spend a lot of time typing here, because I'm going to pull up one that's more reasonable, more practical. So you've got now the next part, your email. The email for these landing pages is the defaulted one for an email. If you click on this plus here, you notice that you can add other things. So if I go to custom field, if it's a field, which is what I'm going to talk about right now, then I can go to custom field, and I can pick first name, for example. I'll talk about a lot of these others here in a minute for a very specific reason. I've added a number of custom fields. You get, I think, 3 or 4 that come with it. First name, last name, email, obviously. So I'm going to put first name. You'll also notice now that when I hover over this, got this little lines over here, so I can click and drag and change the order of that to be whatever I want. One other thing I will quickly show you, you can also add a drop down or a checkbox. So instead of custom field, if I pick tag, now I can go to drop down and I can give it a label and just say, I'm just going to say drop down. And then I select the tag. I've already created some tags. I'll discuss those a little bit later. But you can pick a drop down and you just add multiples of them. And by the way, you might want to go on mute. I'm hearing some background noise if you can until you've got a question. And so now that I'm done with those, now if I click over on this, you'll see that I have 2 things to pick from. So I can click the one. So this is the way that you can provide to someone. Maybe you want to capture, and now drop down is one of many, right? So you're only going to capture a single answer from them. Of course, you could have multiple drop downs to get multiple answers. You can also add, I'll show you very briefly, quickly, the tag. And instead of drop down, I'm going to say checkbox. I'm just going to say checkbox here so that people understand it. And I've actually used this on the landing page that you guys all use to sign up with. Similarly, I can pick the tags that I want. And now what this is going to do is when they visit this, it's going to say, you know, it's basically you're capturing more information. And for every one of these that they click, you've now basically assigned that tag to that person. So that way you can segment your email list in a number of ways. So that's kind of the fields. Now you'll notice that as I go here, I also have some options to say, do I want it required? So you may want first name required. Email is going to be required by default. You can make a drop down required, but you cannot make a checkbox required. So the drop down will be required, can be required, but a checkbox can't. So you'll notice when I click on the checkbox area here, the required portion disappears. Back to this, just for demonstration, I can change the font size, which I'm not going to do. I can change the font color to whatever I want it to be. So now the font color's different. You can also change the radius of these inputs so that they look a little bit more rounded off. Hopefully you can kind of see it's subtle right now at a radius of 9, but those boxes have become more rounded as opposed to just hard and square or rectangular. You can also change the font from basically have normal and bold. You can change your border. Yeah, you guys may want to go on mute, or I can mute everyone if it's too difficult. We've got a lot of background noise. So you have the ability to change the look and feel on this. Again, here I can change the color. So I won't keep mentioning that a lot because you've got a lot of different functionality there. Now, if I go to next, I want to show you very quickly the heading font and the body font. I'm not going to bother changing it, but you can click there and see that you've got a number of fonts that you can pick from. I am going to ever so quickly mute because if I can figure out how to mute everyone, or just please go mute if you guys can. One other thing I want to show you real quick. I just did this last night, but you can also set up a custom domain. Now this is actually really powerful in my mind for those that maybe you've not established a website yet. Maybe you have a domain, maybe creating a website's just a little overwhelming, honestly, and I can certainly understand why that would be, but maybe you've already bought your domain. There's a way that you can actually attach your landing page system here to your domain. And so you'll see that I have one called strammel.com, and then I can put in whatever short link I want to say there and say add. And now I basically have a URL for this landing page that's shanetrammell.com/coaching. And so at this point, I kind of want to see, I sent out the email. I don't know how many people have actually been able to do it. How many of you were able to go to that landing page that I sent out and filled in your name, your email again, basically, and then clicked the checkbox? Actually, it's this other link here. The reason it's to help me show you one of the capabilities. So if you guys can go to strammell.com/OCKE and fill this out, what that's basically going to do is it's going to tag your name so that I can send you out an email as a broadcast. So it has a purpose for the class. So if you can do that, that'd be great. strammell.com and then OCKE. Okay, so back to our landing page. This is the landing page that most of you, well, all of you would have had to have visited to get on the list for this class. So as you can see here, similar to what I was already showing you, I've got basically a headline here. I've got a sub headline here. As you can see, I can change the font colors, that type of thing. I've got your first name, your email, and then some radio or checkboxes. These checkboxes, again, I'm going to go ahead and do this for myself. I had already registered and I unregistered, so I would be able to show you. I'm going to go in, enter this information. I am a certified life coach. I actually am also involved in Young Living. So I'm now going to say register for the Zoom call. All of y'all would have seen this. This is honestly actually right now a bug, I think, with ConvertKit. This screen that I'm showing here is actually a good thing to have, but you technically are supposed to be able to turn it off, and I have it turned off right now, but it's still showing. So they're working on that. But now I get the screen which basically says, please go to your email and complete the registration. Now that's what's called a double opt-in. So as I'm waiting on this email, there it is already. I'm going to describe what double opt-in is. You may actually already know, but I want to briefly discuss it. Double opt-in is where the person has to actually go to an email that the system automatically sends them and click on basically a button to confirm their email. So I've taken both approaches, and I've swung it back and forth a few times, but I'm very keen on the double opt-in because I honestly don't want to build a list that has a bunch of emails in it that are really not ever going to be seen. So it helps you make sure that your list is one of actually valid email addresses. Because if you don't have a double opt-in and people don't have to actually go into their inbox and approve it, then you really don't have any way of knowing. But the way you can not do a double opt-in is if I click on this auto confirm new subscribers, then it's going to go ahead and basically put them in there as an active subscriber prior to them doing any authorization. And so speaking of that, again, it's mostly review. Every one of you should have gotten an email that looks, I've been updating a little bit over time to make it hopefully a little bit better, but basically you would have gotten one of these to complete the registration. So the minute that I complete this registration here, I will be in the list. So briefly, I'm going to show you so that you can see that it actually works. I'm going to show you the subscription, or I mean the subscribers, and show you myself that I'm not in there, and then show you that when I opt in, I am. So if I go here and I'm going to just search for Shane, and we'll spend more time on this screen here in just a minute. You'll notice for shanetrammell.com, which is my email, it shows my status as unconfirmed. So now when I go in here and confirm, I'm gonna, my status is now gonna change. So if I refresh here, I'm now confirmed. So now one of the other things that I want to, you'll also notice that I got this screen. So everyone that registered got to the screen an opportunity to get a free ConvertKit account. So if I go in here now back to my landing pages, I want to show you how I set that part up as well. So if we go here, this is where we were setting up our custom domain if we have it. Otherwise, it's going to use, they totally will host your landing pages. And again, by the way, with the free account, you can have unlimited landing pages, unlimited forms. So that's a pretty generous plan from that perspective. The other thing that you have at this point is a success message. I can't even hardly say that. So if you want, you can say show a success message and then type in here whatever you want them to see. You can also redirect them to an external page. Now, this is what they would see immediately after clicking subscribe, not necessarily, or not after they've validated their registration. So you have two opportunities to redirect them. So it's totally legitimate that you may want to redirect them to some other type of website, maybe even another landing page, whatever, once they've clicked the subscribe. So this is what happens next. Once they click subscribe, actually two things happen simultaneously, right? They're going to get the email, which I'm going to show you in just a minute how you actually create that. They're going to get a success message if you have that set in there, or they're going to get redirected to a different URL. So if I click on it, then I just put in the website. It's that simple. So now let's go to the next, and I know I'm going fast, so please stop me if you need to. I'm now going to go to the email section where I am basically going to create the email that they will receive after they click subscribe. So I go in here, I can say who it's from. You can put in multiple email from addresses. The only thing that limits you there is you will have to verify. So in other words, it has to be an email address that you actually have control of, so that when you program it in here, you can verify that it's an email address that's yours. So as you'll see here, I've got a drop down. I have two to pick from. You got your subject that you would put in there just like any email, and then your message. Now there's no way I can get to it in the time that we have, an hour, but you can create an email template which controls how that email looks. So I will just tell you from, so you can kind of understand this kind of part down here where I've got my social media icons, if you will, and just some of this verbiage, all of that. I was able to basically put in a email template, and this verbiage here is the part that's in the actual body of the email that I'm typing up. And then this is the button that they will click, and this you can change, right? This can say whatever you want it to say. And then they click on that, and then when they click on that, this is what's next, where you can control what happens after they do that. So you can say go to a URL. So this is after they've actually clicked the button in the email. You can redirect them to another URL, or you can direct them to a download, and you pick the file. Now I'm going to pull up a different landing page that I've actually created specifically kind of for the class to use it to make a point, and I'll show you one with the choose a file. And it's basically related to the March marketing material that we have, which kind of gives you an approach to where you schedule a call and send them the OILA Life Planner. So I'll walk through that briefly. Any questions yet? Okay, if they come to mind, let me know. This next one here, and then we'll almost actually be done with landing pages. If someone visits your landing page more than once after they've already subscribed, you have 3 options that you can choose from with regards to what the behavior should be. You could just say continue to show it to them, the form, exactly the way it was. You can say hide it from them. I've actually not tested this out. I don't know what, I guess they wouldn't see anything. I don't know. I haven't run through that. Or you can say show them custom content, and then you can just type in something there. Now there's nothing, it's not going to be super fancy or anything. You could just say you have already registered, you know, whatever it would be, right? So you can type that in. You can also send them a thank you page. That's what this plus is over here. So I can add a thank you page, and it's very similar to the landing page, but you can change the background. You could change the icon. You could change it all, but it's the same general format. So you could, once they actually register, and I'll show you one that's actually working for that as well. So now let's go back to the landing page, go back to the email, download URL. You can also set up this invisible reCAPTCHA. Basically, that's what you guys saw earlier when I was signing up, registering myself. This is just a way to pull up a screen that's interactive, so someone physically has to acknowledge it. That way some automated system can't come in and just sign up, because apparently that actually happens. These so-called robots. Finally, and this is really actually super cool, you can put in a title that's different than whatever you call your landing page, and also put in a description and a different image. The image that will be used if you don't put a different one is this background image, all for search engine optimization. So it says SEO, but that's search engine optimization. So if you wanted your landing page actually to be discovered by Google, that type of things, you could do that, and that would allow you to more specifically control what what Google's going to see. If you're really into this, if you do Google Analytics, you can put in your Google Analytics ID here. This one's pretty powerful if you're into using Facebook for ads. So if you put in a Facebook pixel, for those that don't know, this is basically a unique ID that you can get. If you're going to be doing Facebook ads, you get a pixel ID. You put this in here, that means if someone visits this web page or this landing page, then you have the ability to basically, you won't know specifically who it is, but it's called a custom audience in Facebook. And if they visit this and you want to put out an ad, then you can basically, you know, present an ad to your custom audience in Facebook. And those people that have visited this will likely, you know, will see that ad at one point or another when they're navigating in Facebook. I don't know what segment is, honestly. I do know what Pinterest is, believe it or not. I mean, well, I shouldn't say believe it or not. It's just not something I do. You can advertise on Pinterest as well. So you can put in your, the equivalent of your Facebook pixel. So that's really cool, but that's the end. And then you can also, let's see, that's it there. Yeah, you can set up those things. So that's the, and then you can go into preview mode, right, for example, and see what it's going to look like. One other thing I should mention is these landing pages are, you know, responsive to the different devices that you're on, and you can actually kind of see that by, well, I actually should go into preview mode to do that. If I change my window size, you'll notice that it adapts as well. So that what's good about that, that means if someone's on a mobile phone, if someone's on a iPad, that type of thing, you can see the difference. And I typically, you know, go and look at this on my phone, honestly, because, you know, you probably know this as well. Easily 70% of people interact with the internet from their phone. So it varies some, obviously, by individuals, but if you look at it in the aggregate, 70% is a and it's even higher than that in some cases. 70% is not uncommon with regard to how people are using things. So I always make sure that it looks good, to me at least, on my phone. So the way you can do that, if you click on share here, that's how you find out what your URL is. Now this is very not good looking, right? I mean, it's not memorable or anything. So that's why some might want to have a custom domain where they can actually change this part as well, right? This is the part that's going to be, this is the part that's always going to be the same for you. If you're using this, this is the part that will change every time. You can actually make that something different if you have your own custom domain. Or another way to do that, it's not quite as good. I use your URL shortener called Rebrandly, and got another exercise, if you will, for those that can do it in a minute, that will show when you get the email. I've got a link in there, which is a shortened version of my coaching affiliate link. So now I'll show you part of this right now with this. The cool thing I like about it, not only can I make the short link more memorable, so I can memorize this, you know, and then I easily can type it in or tell someone what it is, whatever. I can't as easy remember this. So that's why I like the URL shorteners. And icing on the cake is I get, you know, some statistics. So I can see, for example, what countries have clicked on it, you know, how many unique clicks versus non-unique. So it's good. I like seeing that 77% at least, or, you know, have only clicked on it once. So that's good. What day, what social media platform, all of that information is really good. So you get all of that. All of this information is a bonus. The real key is that you get this. And not only is that key, and the thing I will just say about Rebrandly that I love, and it's free as well, up to, I don't even know how many URLs, but it's like 500. If my affiliate link ever changes for whatever reason, I don't know why it would, but in other cases, a link may change. But if you want to always point someone to this, the beauty of this is I can go in and change that now. And if I'm always referring people to this, my short link, then I can change what that short link points to 1,000 times. And so you might even have something where it's a link that every month it actually does change, right? Where you're sending an email maybe out every month. The link is always the same. People get to learn what the link is, but every month maybe it's something a little bit different because you're switching it in and out. So that's the shortener. So now let's go to subscribers for a moment to talk through that. This screen is where you manage all of the people that are on your email list. And I guess I should mention also, by the way, you can import. So if you already have an email list, let's say, I'll use this example because it's real for me and probably real for some of you on this call. If you're a Young Living distributor and you have a team of any size, you know, if you go into your virtual office, you can export the emails that you have. And that's exactly what I've done here, and imported some of them so that I can kind of show other people what to do. So I've got 338 in here. This big spike right here was where I imported 150 of those emails so that I could demonstrate that to Young Living people. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because this is not about that. But the only thing I will say, since I probably have some ears that are in Young Living, you know, I can extend considerably the functionality that I have in my virtual office for emails, because now with all 40 fields or whatever they are, I can literally send an email to everyone only from Texas, or everyone that's from Texas and Oklahoma, because I'm going to Lubbock and going to have a training or whatever it would be. And I don't want to send them my whole list. And if you've been in that virtual office, you know, you can do some of that at a certain level, but not as much as you can here. So enough about that. But this is your list. You can see statistics. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because this is nice to know, but I want to stay in talking about the meat. But what I will say is now I want to show you what I was wanting to accomplish for those of you that were able to go to that landing page and update it. and 8 of you did, so that's great. Thank you. You'll notice that there's this tag called, and don't worry about what it's called. I'm a tech guy, so I use naming conventions and underscores and all kinds of stuff, but I'm going to click on that, and now I can see that 8 of you went in and did that and confirmed. Now, the reason I had you do that is because I now want to, here in just a moment, send out a broadcast. And the one thing I didn't want to do is to send it to all 42, right? So there's 42 people, and I'll get to segments in a minute, but there are 42 people who visited the landing page and completely went through the registration and are now confirmed subscribers. I don't want to send that email out to all of them because some of them took the class last night, some of them signed up tonight, but they're not actually on. So I'm trying not to fill up people's inbox with emails that they don't want. So here in a moment, 8 of you are going to get an email that I'm going to send out through the broadcast. And not only does that show you how you can use tags and how you can use a landing page to basically capture new information about people to drive what they're going to see, so it accomplishes all those things from a demonstration perspective. So that was a tag that I clicked on. A tag is simple in nature, where it's capturing basically it's one dimensional, right? So in other words, I'm creating a tag to identify people in a certain way. So you'll notice here, again, I've got a tag here that I was using for demonstration purposes for 10-week, right? So in other words, I could imagine I have a landing page which has a drop down where someone is sharing their preference, whether they're interested in the 10-week or the 3-week class. And so I could very specifically now target with an email those that said the 10-week and others that say the 3-week. So I think with that, your imagination can go wild with the possibilities. So that's tags. Now we get into segments. And before I click, I'm going to go into tags. I'll just show you real quick. It's real simple. You just create the tag name. That's it. And then you actually, through your landing pages, determine whether those tags are captured or not. Segments, a little bit differently. Segments is a way of putting multiple tags together. Tags is one. I'm just going to say example here, but it's not only that. And you can do inclusive, exclusive, all those kinds of things to build ultimately a list, right? So if I'm just going to say any right now, because I want everyone that falls into either one of 2 categories, right? So I'm going to go and I'm going to click add filter and subscribe to. Once I pick that, I have a couple of options. I can say subscribed to a form. Now that when that says form, that really means either technically a form, which we talked about forms versus landing page, or the landing page name. So I'm going to say, for example, if they subscribed to this free tools ULA, that was this thing, and then click add filter. So I've got 42, and that's actually literally grown as we've been going, as this session started tonight, because that was at 35. And then now it says or because I picked any, right? If I change that to all, then this is going to now say and. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to pick it back to any right now. And then I'm also going to say also that I could pick subscription date, an actual email address. I could say a custom field. So if I've got a custom field that's got a certain value in it, I can put in that custom field and say what state, this is where a lot of that comes. And then I could put in Texas, for example, and let's see if that even, now see that, you'll notice that the number is still 42. So I know by doing that this particular thing didn't add any to it. Now, if I said all, that would go to 0, right? Because I don't have anybody that subscribed through the tools and also is in the state of Texas, because I didn't ask any of you what state you were from. So it wouldn't make any sense. And then you can actually add another filter here, which even further determines that. There's so many options. I can't even go to them all. So I'm not going to talk through all the other all the other things, but I can add that filter and it's still 0. So I'm going to take that away. Main thing I want you, at least in this session, to understand is with this segment, I basically, the reason I'm creating these segments is so that I can routinely send out some form of email or a sequence of emails, like a drip campaign. You've probably heard the term drip campaign, so that I can do that without having to always manually, obviously, put in names. So you would notice if someone literally, while we were doing this, and that was 35, I believe, when we started. Now it's actually at 42. As that changes, the broadcast is smart enough to go look at, in essence, the segment at the time that it needs to send out the email versus when you created it. So in other words, what I'm saying is if between the time that you create the segment and send out an email, if 5 more people have joined that, gone through that landing page and registered, then those other 5 people are going to get the email as well. So it's dynamic in that way. So that's really good. So now I want to show you the broadcast. Any questions about segments and tags? I literally could spend probably another hour just on segments, but I want to try to, cover everything. And I'm literally seeing I only have 15 minutes left. Time just flies. Any questions? Okay. I'll try to go a little faster maybe, and we can do some Q&A at the end for those that have it and want to stay, because like I said, I have some time. This is my broadcast. So broadcast is basically just an email. Technically, it could literally go out to one person or any number beyond 1. So what I first want to show you is this email that I've got here, new year, new you. And this email is similar to one I sent out to my list, but because I want to demonstrate something, I'm going to send it to all of you guys that went to that landing page and basically did the drop down. So I'm able to edit it because I have not sent it yet. As you will remember, there's who it's coming from. I already have in here a tag. So my who it's going to go to is that tag for anyone that was tagged with this. So I can say next step. There's 8. It's going to go to 8 people, so you can see that. I guess I should ask. I'm going to silence. I'll assume is fine. I'm going to send this to the 8 people that were tagged. So hopefully none of you mind. Real quick, I'm going to say browse or browser. I can see in a browser what this email is going to look like, and it's a pretty good representation of what it would look like. I could, although I'm not going to, I could send myself a preview email. This is where the email templates come in. There's several of them that I've already created. This is the one that I use most often now, this default here. I can actually duplicate the broadcast if I wanted to. So after you've sent something out, if you want to send it again, but maybe to a different audience, or then have it be kind of like your starting point, you can duplicate it and then make changes to it. One of the quick thing, which I'm not going to do, you can do what's called an A/B test. I can have no more than 2, but I can have 2 different email subjects. And what it does is it will send out 50-50, 15% of your recipients. It will send out 2 different emails, the same email with different subject line. It will look at the statistics of those 15% with regards to which one did better with open rate, that type of thing, and then send the rest out in 4 hours. So I don't know if you can change the 4-hour part. I was going to do that today, but I didn't want my email to wait 4 hours before it went out. So I don't know how often you would actually use this, but there is some science behind that, A/B testing. So in the interest of time, I'm going to move on. So this is what the email would look like. I'm going to go to next step. And then it's ready to either send or I can schedule. I'm not going to schedule it. I'm actually send it, but you'll see you get a calendar up here. And then if I pick on the date, I can then pick the time. So I can actually schedule this for a date and time into the future. I'm just going to send the broadcast. And those of you that are on that list, you should be getting an email. And I hope I'm on the list because I want to be able to actually show you what it looks like. because the main reason I did this is I want to show you another feature. Just in case, I'm going to send myself an example of it. So I will now have to go into here, as I mentioned. Let's refresh. So you'll see now here, it's starting to show, and all these others that actually show view report, you'll see the statistics, right? 35 recipients, 34% opened, 29 click. If I actually go into view the report of one of these, then I can do a lot of things. I can see the recipients. Now what's cool about this, now I can do a bulk, what's called a bulk action on them. I don't know why I don't actually see that right now. You typically actually see the ability to do a bulk activity on those names. I don't know why I don't see that right now, but there's, only on opens, not recipients. So those that have actually opened this email, I can go in here, click them all, and then do a lot of different, I can add a tag, I can remove a tag, I could add them to a sequence. So they now start getting maybe it's an email a week, email a month, whatever that would be, whatever your sequence is. I could remove them from the sequence. I can export them. Now this is cool because I could then, maybe I've got some kind of campaign and I want to take all those that have actually opened the email, export them into some type of a CRM, maybe something like that, and go with that. I can also see the clicks. So there were 8 in that. Now let's actually go back to the one that I just sent, and let's see if any of y'all have been able to, don't see any clicks yet. So if you can go open that email and click on it, that would help with our demonstration. I will actually duplicate this, and I can at least send one to myself so I can show you in that way. And I guess this will allow me to also demonstrate the preview portion. So I'm now going to go in here. Sorry, recipients, content. It's under content email. I'm going to send myself a preview. Okay, while we're waiting on that, let's go back into subscribers and briefly mention the fact that you have 2 different things you can see. You can see net new for the day. So there were 18 net new for the day. That gives you a little bit different look as far as your graphs and things, or you can go to look at your total subscribers and just kind of see how it's growing, contracting, whatever. And you can go up here also and change your in essence, your date range. And you can click in here and say by weeks or by months. Of course, obviously your graph's going to look a little bit different depending on which way you look at it. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I now have a new email. So this is an email which, like I said, I sent out. It's basically the one that's similar, almost verbatim. I've made minor changes to this that we got in our marketing material. Thing I want to actually show you is that this picture has my short link basically. This right here is a short link to it. To find out more, all of these opportunities are short links to it. And if we go over here again, 54, I'm going to refresh this to make sure that someone else maybe didn't also go into the email and click. I think I'm the only one doing that. Okay, so someone did, so thank you. It's 55, it was 54. It's going to go to 56 because I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click on the picture because that's the easiest. Since this is a preview, it doesn't actually work quite the same way, but I still have the link to have the opportunity to click on. So now you can see visually that I've redirected folks to the 3-week and the 10-week landing page basically. So if obviously I think everyone's probably been here. Now I see this, and of course this is going to be through my affiliate connection because it's up there. So that's that. I want to show you one other type of landing page, but let's go and refresh now. It should have been plenty of time to update that. It's going to be at least 56. Maybe someone else has done it as well. 57. So 2 other people went through and basically did that same thing. So you can see that that's updating. So I have the thing I like about this, although as much as I like the, especially for the coaching affiliate, as good as our dashboard is, I like this because I can literally go and look at it at any point in time. Don't even have to necessarily be in my dashboard, and get some sense of the activity that I've got going on with regards to people clicking on the link. The one other thing I will mention, and not get into any of the details at all, the other really nice thing about using Rebrandly especially is there's what's called UTM parameters, and you could create multiple links. So one link that you only share on Facebook, for example, another one that you only share on Twitter, another one that you only share on whatever. I know that can sound crazy, but when you do that with these UTM parameters, you can then also have Google Analytics involved, and you can see where you're getting the most activity, right? And that way you might help you focus more on one social media platform versus another, versus your blog, versus all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down now because we won't go back to that. Let's go back to landing pages. I want to show you one other one that I kind of created for this class, so that you could maybe get some sense of some, or have some ideas. So this one is to schedule a call and to send the ULA Life Planner. So it really kind of does it all in one thing, along with having an email. So I've got 5 minutes. So I'm going to go through this real quickly. You'll notice that I have a custom URL for this one. I have the email, the contents. I didn't put a lot in that contents because this is more just to show you. You'll notice that after confirming, so they're going to get a email, even though I'm not going to require them to confirm to get on my email list in order to get the free file. As long as they go into the email and confirm there, they're going to get the download. So I'm going to show you that part as well. Okay, so if I actually run this, let's go back up to here. I'm going to click on this. If I put in my email and my first name and then coaching calendar, what you're going to see, I didn't actually mention this, is it's going to go to my calendar right away, straight away. And then someone can put in their, so I use Calendly. There's other options out there. This one is heavily used by a lot of people, so it's got a lot of, it's very popular. The only thing that I don't like about the free plan, so I honestly may eventually end up investing some money in this, and some of you may already have experience with this, you can only create one event type under the free account, which means, in other words, if I wanted to have a 30-minute event type and a 60-minute event type and a 15-minute event type, and if I also wanted to have a group, so you can also have a group type situation where, in other words, everyone can pick the same time and date, and so you got a group. And the cool thing about that feature, although you got to pay for it, is I can then set up a reminder to where the group is going to automatically get a reminder. I was actually going to do that tonight, but I realized that part's not available under the free plan, so I couldn't do it. So I literally use as much free stuff as I can as well. So, but there's that part. That's really cool. If I go back to my email, you'll notice that I got a email now here that says confirm your subscription. It says click the line below to confirm your subscription. Once you confirm, you'll get access to the ULA Life Planner. This is one of a number of ways to accomplish the same thing, which is to get them on your calendar for the 30-minute call, and to also get them the ULA Life Planner so they can kind of start doing some things ahead of your call. So if I click on that, then I get the Life Planner. So with 2 minutes left before we maybe do some Q&A, went through that, I know, really fast. If you guys come off of mute, maybe you've got some questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I would also say, if you haven't signed up for the free ConvertKit account. I will say real quick while you're thinking about questions you might have, that is the cool thing about that one is it is absolutely free. A lot of free things that you guys have probably run into as well, especially these SaaS products or service or software as a service. They'll say that it's free, but it's a trial, 14-day trial. You don't realize that until you've given them literally all your information. I mean, this is truly free for life. Anything that's for life still, obviously, if the company goes under, I've had a Yahoo email for free forever. It's always been free. So similar kind of thing. It's limited in what it can do, but everything I did tonight was with the free plan. So I didn't show you anything that required another plan. The one other thing I will say, and I'm sure shortly go ahead and upgrade to the first plan that has a price on it, if you will, because I really wanted to be able to do the automation and the sequences, that type of thing, because with that you can then automate, in essence, a drip campaign, and that's a generic term. So maybe you're going to do a 12-week challenge. I'm sure your imagination can come up with a lot of other things as well. So I'm done talking unless there are questions.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
I have 3 questions. My first one's pretty easy. Are you gonna where are you gonna post this thing? Because I think I'm gonna need to rewatch this about 10 times.
Yeah, I will probably put it on my YouTube channel. So I'll send out a link.
You'll send out a link. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And then on the landing page, when you had those links to the 10 and 3-week program, at the bottom there, was that hard there was like a point where when people clicked on that, it took them to the next page and then they were able to sign up for the 10 or 3. Was that
calendar, you mean? Are you talking about the point where they clicked and said, well, let me pull up the landing page.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it was in the email. It was in one of the confirmation.
Okay, let me pull up my email then. Yeah, it was. So from the email, though, just to okay, yeah, it was this one, right? So go ahead. Yeah, this was the email that I sent out that basically this is ultimately, if they click on this picture or any of the links or the buttons, that's going to take them to the 10-week and 3-week ULA landing page with my affiliate link. So now with that context, did I answer your question or do we need to follow up?
Was it hard to set up those affiliate links like that?
No. I mean, the affiliate link you should already have. I don't know if you're newer. I'm sorry that I don't recognize. I'm not looking at the names, but do you already have your affiliate link?
Yeah. No, okay. I've been a coach since October, but
okay.
I feel like the aesthetics of it were really nice. Like when you click on that link and it takes you to the next page, and then there was like at the bottom, if you hovered over them, there was anyhow, I'll go back and watch it again and I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Have you had anyone sign up, or have you had any successful people sign up for either 30-minute discovery calls or the 3 or 10-week or even just private coaching through doing this landing page? Because it looks like
I honestly, I'll be honest with you. I only started, was not building landing pages prior to switching to ConvertKit, and I've had ConvertKit for I think 2 weeks. So I don't have a lot of data yet, but what I can, it's a little bit of a captive audience, but honestly, I think this proves something, what I'm about to say. 44 or whatever it was amongst us coaches went through basically everything I'm showing, right? Got on the email list, got an email from me, signed up, and now, 10 of us are on this call, and I had another one last night with 8 or 9. So, I mean, I know it's
like 50% of your people.
I know it's more important, obviously, that we can use this to sell coaching, because that's money in our pocket and what we all signed up to do, whether it's money or not. What we want to do is to coach people. So, but I can't. Yeah, I don't have I've not been using this long enough yet to to tell you, but I've used things like this, I'll at least say, for other things. And I can say, I mean, it absolutely, makes a difference. The thing I love, which light bulb actually went off for me. I had not done it, but I was looking at different domain options, and my name is Shane Trammell. So strammell.com was available, and I use strammell all the time for, different things. So I was so surprised it was available. So I set it up. And then now that I can create all these landing pages with strammell.com/this, that, and the other that are very, very memorable. I think I've now opened up a lot of options. Other thing I use a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but things I do a lot of experimentation, honestly, as well, because I like to see what works. And I know it's not as used here in America, if you will, or North America, but I've generated QR codes as well. The books that I've been giving out, because they were on sale, I bought a number of the ULA for Christian when they were like $5 a piece. And I created a 2 inch by 2 inch QR code that I've placed on there. And basically when they scan that, they get a video of Skittles and oranges, because I just love that, that video a lot. So yeah, there's a lot of options.
Can I ask this? I used to do project broadcast with
Uh-huh.
anymore,
Yeah.
but is it sort of the same concept? So I'm trying to understand the difference between a landing page and a website.
Well, okay, so yeah, it's similar to the sequences, which we didn't get to show, and the automation, which we didn't get to show, is the part that's most similar to project broadcast, because again, with project broadcast, you're sending text, and then, if they opt into some kind of a weekly thing or a monthly thing or whatever it is, right? You could do all of that stuff with email and visual automation. I couldn't really show it to you tonight, but it's visual. So drag and drop, all this kind of stuff. So that's that part. Now it's basically a landing page is a website. It's just a one-page website. It's, and again, like I said at the beginning of the call, and I don't know who all heard this part, because I know we had people joining at different times. The landing page is typically designed for or intended for a single call to action, or not more than probably two, right? So in other words, they're very specific. So you might have a landing page that's very specific for one, just getting people on your email list. And that's why I mentioned lead generation in this class. I mean, it's completely different in one sense. I know a lot of us are probably involved in network marketing, because I know that ULA obviously has impacted a lot of people in Young Living. So a lot of us come from that. And if you're from that, you probably know about, Eric Worre, for example. And literally, I'm not going to go through the how and all that, but I've generated 85 leads from just helping people find a Eric Worre tool, and so a lot of it boils down to creativity to a certain extent, and trying some things and seeing what works and what doesn't. But it is a web page. And with that, there are domains that you can get for $5 a year, like the strammell.com, $5 a year. And now I basically have, and even cooler, let me show you this just real quick for those that are actually still watching. strammell.com is, I didn't add any web stuff to that, but with ConvertKit, when I do strammell.com, I can tell it which landing page is the default landing page that comes up. So if again, like I said at the beginning, if it's just too overwhelming for me, or I don't want to spend the money, don't have the time, any number of reasons why you can't get a web page up, almost anyone can create a one-page landing page, get a domain, and do this. And I did all this in an hour. Some of it you just have to wait for. The way the internet works, stuff has to get what's called propagated. But I bought the domain in 2 minutes, configured ConvertKit in less than a minute. And once it went through all the stuff that it has to go through, all the places throughout the world, to do all that, this morning when I got up, it was working.
You just paid like $5 a year just to have that.
Well, yeah. So typically, and I'm just going to put in a plug. I do affiliate marketing as well. So I do have a really good affiliate for one, which is called DreamHost. So I went to DreamHost and got it. A lot of times the first year it's really cheap, and then it goes up a little bit the second year. But you can normally also buy 3, 5. You get options. But yeah, a lot of them are even as low as $2 for the first year, and then sometimes it goes up to $11 for every year after that, but not month. That's $11 a year. And then
I think I got it. I think I got it. So like when I was with Young Living and I did Marketing Sense, I don't do that. I haven't done it in a couple years, but Marketing Sense, is that a landing page?
I'm not sure about what Marketing Sense is, honestly.
Okay. That's okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to
Yep.
open that up.
Sure. Well, I know we're 9 minutes over, and I'm not even seeing. We still got 6 people on. Anyone else that's on have any questions that I can answer? If not, we'll wrap it up. But I'm also open to answering questions. All right. Well, I guess that means that that we'll close it down. You all have my email as well. Having received a confirmation thing from me. If you've got any questions, you can send it to me, and I'll be happy to answer it. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. I will post this recording, and people can watch it. Thanks again. Good night.